Hello, puppies and kittens. Doing another interview. This time, a commenter on one of my videos commented that science was biased, and we got into a bit of an argument there. So we decided to discuss that. And the topic I think we agreed on was how to minimize bias or eliminate it if possible. So,
well, I didn't.
What?
Oh, sorry.
What?
Well, oh, sorry. Never mind. What was the question?
Well, the question was, you start your position. You describe your position. We'll establish it from there.
Okay. Well, I didn't necessarily say that science was biased. I was just saying that sometimes atheists, in a way, can be biased if you're going to take something literally. Like okay, sometimes.
All right. Sometimes people who don't believe in God can be biased for various things. What's that got to do with why were you commenting on that on my video?
Wait, huh? What was the question?
You commented on my video, and I didn't think I needed to go out and go back and look up the exact verbiage, but you commented on my video that atheists are biased or something to that effect. Science was biased, or atheists were biased, or revolutionists is biased, or whatever. I don't remember. But we decided that we were going to talk about, and I responded by saying that religion is a bias by definition. And I said, and I remember it was a science-based discussion that you were commenting on. And so I said that in science, we seek to minimize or eliminate bias however we can.
Okay, and I do agree with that. I'm just saying that sometimes when atheists get a little bit too crazy with some things that they kind of believe in, I don't know if they go.
Give me an idea of any time atheists have ever gotten too crazy about something they believe in. Because I mean, I'm just saying like 5 different falsehoods in that one sentence. Okay.
Well, okay. So bias is when you're agreeing with one thing and just disagreeing with everything.
No.
Well,
no,
you know
that's not what a bias is. A bias is a prejudice where you've judged something in advance before you've seen the evidence. Prejudge is what prejudice means. So if I come to my position after having explored all the data and the information or the evidence has led me in a particular direction where I once may have been where you are, I'm now where I am because of the evidence that I can demonstrate, that is not a bias. If I say that I'm right and you say that you're right, but you're basing it on faith and I'm basing it on evidence, I'm still right. I'm the one that can show that I'm right.
Okay, that's a good point, and I will kind of agree with that. It's just, well, I'm trying to make my conversation a little bit more.
Sorry. I have a dog.
Is your dog always that, conversating? It really wants to be a part of the video.
Don't ever get a Great Pyrenees. They bark all the time. It's almost about to drive me crazy. How often?
I agree. Oh, you have no idea how much dogs bark. In fact, dogs actually hate me every time I walk by a dog. They just bark at me every single minute. Like, okay, what did I do to you, dog? That's why I'm more of a cat person rather than a dog person, because cats are more chill. I mean, I like dogs. I just don't like, big, loud dogs.
Yeah. Well, this is a rescue. This wasn't something. He literally walked into my door. Yeah, and if somebody opened our front door and said, "Hey, there's this big dog that's in your front yard," and he pushed past her and just walked into my house, like he lived here.
Oh,
and yeah, and so right away I've got this enormous dog, Great Pyrenees, is a damn polar bear, who's playing with my 2 smaller dogs, and you're just on first meeting. And so I found out, we found the owner, and we ended up, we found the owner by taking the dog to the vet and having it chipped, or it was chipped. So they scanned the chip and they found the owner. And then because we had it listed on nextdoor.com, we got a notice on nextdoor.com that the people had picked it up from us and dropped it off at the pound. They didn't even take it back home. And so now I'm outraged. So now I'm at the pound paying money for a dog I shouldn't have had anything to do with. It was effectively mine yesterday, so. Yeah, so now he's ours now. So anyway, back to the topic.
Right, yeah, that's what this whole video was supposed to be about. It ain't supposed to be about cats and dogs. It's supposed to be about what bias is and how we can learn from what is true and what is false. Okay. Yeah.
But he's got to make it all about him, so.
Exactly.
Okay.
Well, would you like to try to go first? Because sometimes I'm really horrible at starting sometimes.
Yeah, okay. You said when atheists get too crazy about the things they believe in.
Oh yeah.
So we've established that bias isn't the case here, and I'm interested in the crazy and what it is that we
Oh,
believe in.
okay. I'll try to explain it as I can, but just letting everyone know so people don't go, mocking me when I go like sometimes when my voice cracks or when I get a little nervous because this is my first podcast. So I'm gonna get nervous and I'm gonna kind of, have my wording kind of mislead. But I'm gonna try my best. Is that okay? Okay. So what if I'm not a science denier. I admire science the way it is, and I thank science for a lot of things. I thank science for the technologies that we have. I thank science for the cures that we have when to cure people. I thank science for a lot of things. It's just there should be a time when we have to question if it's going to get a little bit too far to a dark edge. Like, let's say, for example, what if science one day, it's a what if, science one day says that pedophilism is the most healthy nutrition of all America. Would atheists would love to agree with that kind of sentence?
I don't even understand what you just said.
Like I was trying to explain. Like I said, like if I was trying to, like I was trying to explain, like what if people, like if atheists get a little bit too crazy, like you guys love science that much that it's I don't know
wish that
if
was true of all atheists. Unfortunately, it is not. There are atheist science deniers too. There are people who are. I am atheist because of my interest in science, because I'm interested in truth. That means that I don't want to be fooled by false information. So
okay.
I don't want to be convinced of anything that is not evidently true. And if I find out, as has happened many times, where my information has misled me, and then I find out it's incorrect, well, then I have to correct it immediately. There's no sense in holding on to a belief that you now know is wrong, because that in itself is wrong. But I know religious believers who have confessed to me that they will continue believing even if they know it's not true.
Well, it's okay to believe in whatever you want, just as long as you're not being, an asshole about it. Like,
well, I would think that being an asshole is when, like, teaching classes where you're misleading students, and evolution is on the criteria, but you're going to, instead of teaching evolution like it's supposed to be, you're going to be talking about Ann Coulter and Answers in Genesis and misleading those students in the process. That, I think, would be being an asshole about it. Well, I gave a testimony to the Texas State Board of Education where they all insisted that the United States was founded on a covenant between God and Moses. And I was there with like 4 or 5 history professors from different parts of the country and from different religious backgrounds. And they're all insisting, not only is there no evidence to back up that assertion, and you should never assert something without evidence to back it up, but there is significant evidence against it, including the statements of founding fathers to the effect that, no, we did not base this country on the 10 Commandments or Moses or anything religious or Judeo-Christian, anything. But the Board of Education doesn't care about that because they have an agenda to push American exceptionalism, and they're going to do that regardless what the truth is. That's an example of bias.
Okay. Those are some good points, and I do agree. It's just, I mean, I guess it just depends on how you look at it, I guess. Or, I mean, I kind of don't know. Sometimes even I kind of question my own type of belief. Sometimes I don't know what to believe in.
Do you know atheism is just questioning your belief, and that's it?
I thought it was just, I thought it was, well, the hard atheist it's just the, not believe in God at all. It's not supposed to be a belief that
I am a hard atheist. It took me a few years to get there. I was an agnostic atheist for many years because I just didn't have enough evidence to be convinced either way. I thought there was a possibility, but then eventually I came to the point where, you know what, there's not a possibility. God is not possible. Now, it's not just that there's no evidence to support it. And you know what? If there's no evidence to support it, that's enough. If you don't have evidence to support something, that's the same, that you get zero credence for an unsupported assertion, just like you get from an assertion that's already been proven wrong. Zero credence either way. So that's why Hitchens' razor, Christopher Hitchens said that what is asserted without evidence can be dismissed without evidence. So when somebody says, well, there's a God or there's magic pixies or there's a ghost or whatever, pictures or it didn't happen.
Well, like I said, it just depends on how you look at it. But I get what you're saying, and you do have some very, very good points, and that I do kind of agree with, and kind of does make me think about it a little bit. I just, would just like to think that there could be a type of entity. I mean, if we could prove that the forces of nature exist, then it could be this. I'm not trying. If it's a straw man argument, forgive me, but it could be the same for God. If we can prove the forces of nature is possible, then it could be the same for God. But it's just the world is just so big, and this entity hides his evidence real good. We just don't know it. So therefore, that requires faith for the religious people and the Christians involved.
Well, let's look at this logically then.
Okay.
And we're not even going to talk about the Christians right now, because if we want to talk about whether God can be proven false, the Bible God has already been proven false. Because so much of the Bible has been proven false, that if it depends, if biblical inerrancy is what is required for God to exist, then God doesn't exist. And if God did exist, if some entity that you're talking about would qualify as God, the Bible would still be false. Evolution would still be a demonstrable fact, and the Bible would still
believe in evolution. I'm actually a kind of almost believer that believes in evolution, because I mean, I had to face the facts. I mean, it was kind of hard for me to kind of accept that. But after realizing it's honestly, I don't understand. After looking back at evolution, I didn't understand the big problem with evolution. I mean, it's just the progress of, animal species, developing into smarter beings. So I didn't understand what the problem was with why the religious people were kind of mad at this.
I don't think it even. If you look up the statement of faith by any of the leading creationist organizations like Answers in Genesis, Institute for Creation Research, and a number of others, when they publish their statement of faith, you can read through that. And these are available online. And you can find where they'll say it. They phrase it different ways, but they state therein that they will not ever even consider or acknowledge evidence that they may be wrong. Right. And they will never admit that they're wrong. That's what it is. So they have to believe. Elsewhere in the same statement of faith, they will state that their a priori belief is that the Bible is absolutely inerrant, and that that no kind of evidence in any field, not history or chronology or anything else, can ever contradict the Bible. The Bible's true no matter what. William Lane Craig said if there's a problem between the conflict of religion and scientific evidence, or religion and science, then science got it wrong. That's you have to believe the magic fairy tales, and that's it, and that's all, and we're over and done. That's what creationism is. It's worshiping a book rather than a God.
Yeah, to be honest, I do kind of agree with that. Yes, they'd rather worship the book rather than the actual God himself, if there was. But honestly, there are some things that are pretty true about the Bible. There's some, well, in my opinion, I mean, like I said, the Bible's clearly subjective, so you could look at it the way you want, and that's perfectly fine. But for me, what there are some things that are good about it is, the message that Jesus brought, the love thou neighbor as thyself, and all that type of jazz.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to finish. I was just saying I agreed with that of the Bible. There are some good things in the Bible, and I do agree with the atheists that there are negative things in the Bible as well, and we can't ignore that. But at the same time, we can't ignore the good sides of the Bible as well. And that's, something like that. There are some good things in the Bible as well. My point.
Ecclesiastes 3:18-21, for example, is the one place in the whole Bible where I think there's any actual wisdom. So I can't say shut up, dog. I can't say there's no wisdom in the Bible, because there is that one. Shut up! Because there is that one line. There's just no kind of professionalism anymore during a pandemic, especially not in this house. Anyway, good, man. Yeah, and this is another rescue. Found this one in traffic a month ago. At only 4 weeks old. She was running under and between cars on a busy street.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and she was 4 weeks old. So just a tiny thing, half the size she is now. And so I pulled my Jeep sideways, blocked traffic, and grabbed the cat, and she bit me.
Dang, that cat is not appreciative. Trying to save the damn life.
It was a feral cat. I think I'm the first person who's ever touched it. But obviously we've gotten past that issue. Again, away from the dogs and cats. I'm sure the
Yes.
birds will speak up next. But
Yes. What the heck is this conversation supposed to? You
yeah,
know,
where are we?
I really like you, Aaron Raw, and I don't want this to be a misunderstanding of me having some sort of thing against atheists. I don't have a problem with atheist people the same way I don't have a problem with Christians or Muslims or anyone. I just do not like jerks in general. It doesn't matter if you're an atheist. It doesn't matter if you're a Christian. I just appreciate a good person. That's all I appreciate. Just be good to me. I be good to you. Be an asshole to me. I be an asshole to you. It doesn't matter, rather what you believe and what you don't believe.
Well, I think we both agree. I mean, there are plenty of atheist assholes, and I could probably name 10. Just from people I know. Okay, I mean, so that's possible, and there are some good Christians. I could name a couple, but the problem is that we're talking about a matter of fact versus a matter of faith, and
Right.
It always bothers me when somebody asserts something to be true that they don't know to be true. You express it to be a fact, but if it's not a fact, well, I know for a fact there's a God, for example. There's a person who's pretending he knows something he does not know. Nobody knows that.
I would prefer when it comes to something of unknown, it's best to leave it unknown for now until it's proven.
Yeah.
Proven. That I agree with. So, and that's, like I said, for them, that's where they use faith for.
Yeah, we got to talk about the word proven too, because where religious belief is all about absolutes, in science there are very few absolutes. So everything's on this bell curve or a gradient scale, degrees of probability and confidence. And so Karl Popper put up, I think it was Karl Popper who established that we can never declare anything to be absolutely true. We can't claim that anything is ever proven, except in math. So he comes up with the idea that it doesn't matter that every scientific theory that we currently have that I know that I can think of is also a fact. I mean, atomic theory, it's a fact that everything is made out of atoms. The cell theory of disease, or I'm talking about the cell theory of biology, the germ theory of disease. These are facts, as well as a theory, which is a body of knowledge, not as some blind guess, as the religious people want to make it out to be. A theory is when a hypothesis has been shown to be so well supported and never contradicted and has such profound explanative power that it must be correct. Rather than saying we've proved the hypothesis right, we elevate it to the level of theory. And we have to maintain, at least theoretically, that a theory can be disproved, even when it becomes kind of obscene. Even like with atomic theory, I mean, are we really going to disprove atomic theory? But we still have to keep up the pretense that a theory can be disproved.
Right. And everything. And you say, I honestly have no words for that. I really do agree with some of those things. Yes.
So we don't try to, outside of mathematics, we don't ever prove anything true. We can disprove things. We can show that things are not true. But if it is true, then the evidence will support that. And I say that things will be effectively proven because I'm using something that is not necessarily a scientific context. I mean, in a court of law, you would prove something by an overwhelming preponderance of evidence beyond reasonable doubt. And that's what I try to go through, because I'm usually not arguing with scientists. I'm arguing with people who don't understand science or object to it.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes you have to use some things in order to get into people's heads to correct them. And I do understand that some people do need to be corrected of their little mistakes.
He's asleep and barking. To give you he's in his sleep.
He's asleep and barking at the same damn time.
Yes.
So in his own dog way, he's sleepwalking.
He woke himself up there. Shut up!
Well, congratulations, dog. You've woke yourself up. Good job. Feed the dog. You need some treats or something.
Yeah. Then I'd have to listen to the chewing noises.
Oh, the chewing. My gosh.
The joys of the pandemic.
Right.
So, where were we on this? I'll let you go on to your next idea.
Okay, my next idea, another problem, what we were also going to discuss of what we can Or wait, did we discuss this of what we can tell is true or false?
Tell me what you want to talk about.
What I wanted to talk about. Well,
just ask me what you wanted. What would you like to talk about?
What I would like to talk about, you know, like to getting to know atheists a little more. I mean, that's really been my experience. Even when I was a Christian, I was kind of, you know, I kind of stopped, you know, I didn't want to go to you know, sometimes I love my mom and all, but sometimes she can kind of be annoying when it comes to, you know, so I can kind of see the atheist point of view when it comes to Christianity and having their points of views, having to be, you know, pushed down their throats. And now I can understand their pain because sometimes I love my mother, but she can really be annoying at times. Every time I can't have my own business, she always just comes to me and say, man, boy, you're always on that phone. The devil got you there today. The devil got you there today, boy. So that's where I just realized that, you know what, and I really hate how some atheists get kind of, you know, demonetized for just not believing, just the simple not belief. I thought an atheist is supposed to be a simple person that just doesn't believe in God. So I wanted to get to know a little bit more about them and, you know, their kind of own philosophy instead of, you know, I mean, I would rather atheists to tell me in a, you know, civil and kind way of why they believe this and why they not believe this and all that stuff without having to be jerks about me. And, you know, I notice how some atheists usually always use the F-bomb, the big fuck, goddamn shit, fuck, in order to just prove you're an atheist. Why do you have to cuss in order to show you're an atheist? Is there other ways that you can show you're an atheist without, you know, showing those types of personalities? You know what I'm saying? You know,
many do. I mean, I don't really envision Carl Sagan, you know, dropping a lot of F-bombs.
I mean, but I guess it's just a way to show. I mean, and I have actually met a lot of Christians that do kind of, and my mother does kind of cuss a little bit when she's that on point. So that's where I realized that sometimes even Christians can cuss at some point as well. And that's where I just realized that.
So where are you?
Huh?
So where are you? You say your mother's a Christian. You said you used to be Christian.
Well, I didn't say I used to be Christian. I still do believe that there could be a possible entity out there. I'm just saying that
we all believe that there could be a possible entity. That's not a God. There's lots of possible entities that we could conceive in that do have some possibility to them. But the problem with religion is you are required to believe what you're told, or else. You're not given any evidence. You just have to believe exactly what we say, or else. Because if you believe something different, if you have a different interpretation, that's heresy. That's damnable by a death penalty. And if you don't believe us at all, that's atheism. That's damnable. In 7 countries right now, I can be executed just for being atheist. And then
there are countries like that.
If you really leave your religion, once upon a time, that was a death sentence, even in Christianity. So they have to have absolute control of your belief. Now, free thought means you're free to think whatever you want to, but religion is a belief system that is faith-based, and you had better believe what you're told, or there's some punishment for it. You either will never achieve the awards in the case of nirvana or Krishna consciousness, or in the case of the Abrahamic religions, you're going to hell.
Oh, freak. Yeah, I agree with all that. But anyways, dang, my mother's freaking here, and I would love for this conversation to end right here. This is a perfect time. But I agree. It was a perfect time meeting you, Aaron. And I gotta say, you know, you're the villain of the Christianity. You're like literally the Thanos. You have the stone of science, the stone of science, the stone of that. And with all of this, you will wipe out all of religion. You have that good persona, and I like that. You should join the dark side. Well, anyways, gotta go. See you later, man. Thanks for joining me in this podcast.
Bye-bye.